Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live stream program for today. Hello to everybody watching from YouTube or LinkedIn. So,
Hello.
let me start this off. I'm Angie. I'm a field marketing manager, part of the marketing team here at Hygraph, and I'll be your host for today. And today, here with me, I have my dear colleague Daniil from our product team. How are you doing today, Daniil?
Hey Angie, hi everybody. Doing very well, and yeah, looking forward to this stream. Thank you.
Let me give you a quick introduction for the audience. So, Daniil is our product manager for the editor experience, and he's been working with content management throughout his entire career. And we're both based in Berlin, actually. So, I want to put his LinkedIn profile just in case you want to connect with him or chat with him. If you have any questions. So yeah, we're both based in Berlin, and Berlin has been very cold lately. Just when you think
Unfortunately,
spring is around. Hello, Gabriel. I'm just gonna say hello to all the comments, and Mahaver is here as well. Hello. So this is our first product live stream for the year, and we are planning to get together with the product team more often, at least for a quarterly product live stream. We'll share updates and what's coming next. And Daniil is actually joining me today to share with you why you should make the switch from Classic to Studio. What are the new features and latest updates of the Hygraph Studio and versus the Classic and what's coming up next? So I think we can get started with the session already. And yeah, without further ado, Daniil, feel free to kick this off. I'll pull your screen to the stage, and then yeah, you'll be ready to go. Hello, Jean, as well from LinkedIn. Okay, here we
awesome.
are.
All right, yeah, let's jump straight into it. I personally prefer to have presentations with the product itself. Right there, no Google Slides, no nothing, just straight to the app. This is what we're doing, guys, today. But basically, yeah. So thank you, Angie, for the great introduction. And as Angie already mentioned, right, we're talking here about why switch to Studio? Why switch to Studio now? Why join almost 3/4 of all of our users who are already using Studio as the main app for Hygraph? And I'm just going to keep it very short, right? Because show don't tell. But a little bit of tell at first, where I just want to mention that we've been laying out that foundation for new and better Hygraph with new technology here with Studio, and in the process we've been adding a lot of big and small new features, updates, quality of life improvements, and some of them I am excited to share with you today. Something that's been launched recently at the beginning of this year, and something that we're coming up with, and we're going to be launching throughout April and before the summer, and then we'll quickly, very briefly mention what's coming even later. But yeah, so Studio has all of the new and exciting updates. They are exclusively in Studio, so we're very interested in hearing your feedback and for you guys to take advantage of all the new stuff. And if you're an enterprise customer and you want your whole team to default and be using Studio already, you can use the open project in setting here in Studio, and basically just choose Studio here, and that's really all that you need to do, right? So there's no migration, there's no like major, I don't know, effort that you need to make in your code. No, nothing like that. So that's we're here. Here we're talking about the Hygraph UI, right? So the application where developers and editors are collaborating to create some great content. And to help with that, we are constantly launching different updates. So I want to quickly run through the updates that we've launched. So we're going to start with things that we launched recently in the past couple of months. The next we're going to go into sort of like a rapid fire, sort of an overview part where we're going to have a look at what we already have in Studio when we launched in the end of 2024. That is up there in Studio, and after that you can already see my sneak peek situation here, which is basically a collection of a few features that are coming to the app very soon. They're not launched yet, but they are already in a presentable way to a varying degree. Let's see how it goes today. So anyway, the very quick mention of the new features, right? And I think that we are with the first thing that we're looking here, which is notifications. We are opening. We're actually continuing this collaboration sort of topic that been really important to us. And notifications, they get a bit of different look here in Studio. It's like a little side sheet now with more notifications there available to you. You can basically everything that you would expect from a notification solution, right? You can mark something as read immediately from here. You don't need to open it. You can mark all of them as read. You can filter by read and unread, and obviously you can jump straight to the notification, to the comment that the notification is about. Here, my test account is mentioned in my real primary account, making sure that this entry here is published. And comments obviously is the other thing that we've launched that we sort of moved right to Studio. It's another feature that we've added to the platform here with just a little facelift and making it easier to add your comments. Let's just say all good, ready to go. And this is our commenting feature right here. And the demo gods apparently are not looking very, very, very great at us today, but here's our comment. And so comments are here today. And with two accounts that we're looking at here at the moment, that is a great segue to the next feature, which you can see right here at the top of the page, where both of my accounts are currently here. So what it tells me as an editor, for example, is that somebody else is currently here, and I want to make sure that we don't overwrite each other's changes, right? So I can use the commenting feature. I can, send them a Slack message or something like that, just to be sure that it is not something, because obviously it's not something that we want to do, right? Sort of clash with each other and overwrite each other's changes. So that is what we call a collaborator view here. So, and now I have just clicked on my other tab. I kept the tab open, but I left it to do something else with my other account. And as you can see, this avatar disappeared. So if you're one of those people like me, who likes to hit 20, 30, 40 tabs open at the same time, which isn't good for your attention span, I think. No problem. We don't count you sort of as a person who is looking at this entry at the moment. So that is the collaborator view. And the next thing that I want to talk about, which isn't already about collaboration, and we're going to wrap up this section with it, it's the Auto Translate app right here. So under the hood, this is a DeepL integration, and this is how you can find it in our app marketplace. But basically, this we need to go to another entry here that doesn't have a German localization yet. And the way it works is very simple. We add a localization. We use our Auto Translate sidebar element here that tells us, hey, if you have some stuff in your localized fields, we're going to override that. We're going to say, okay, yes, we're good. And almost immediately, by the way, very fast. The German translation appears here for the fields, and that is the auto translate extension. I think it's really, really nice for the cases where you want to just make a few little tweaks to your translations later, right? Because the most of the job is being done basically by DeepL in this case, and you can really cut down the time that it takes to add translations. Now, moving on to the next part, which is the announced rapid fire round. And by the way, here, right, with the price, for example, the price is a number field. So obviously, we're not going to get the auto translation for the number. So if you have a localized price field, which sort of can make sense, right? Different prices for different regions, you will need to add them manually, which I think is better than having a auto translation for your price. But yeah, so the rapid fire round, we have, like I said, we've added like a bunch of features of different degree of complexity and size. But I would pick my three sort of top studio features that I feel are really, they really make it worth trying out Studio and really adapting it as your main app. And the first one on my list is conditional fields. Right here, right? We can see that we have two fields that are marked as conditional, which means that they're dependent on this on sale field that can hide those fields if I don't really need them. So for example, if we go back and I start a new entry right here, if this product, right, is not on sale, I do not see the fields that are not relevant to me. And if it actually is on sale, we unhide those fields. I think it's a great feature for editors, mainly because, and I personally, I really like the features that we add to help you sort of declutter this environment and make it just, just exactly what you need at the moment. So you can focus really on adding that content without, distractions and without having to spend your attention on anything that is not absolutely relevant at the moment. And a similar feature, I would say, but not exactly, but a very similar feature is the field outline, right? So this is, I think that might be the most important change, or sort of most visible change that we have between Studio and Classic, where in Classic you just have the same sort of model view right here, but in Studio you have the field outline that allows you to jump really to any field that you want, and then it also highlights the field that you're looking at the moment with this little sort of highlight state, so that you don't you don't lose yourself, you don't get lost in in a very huge content forum. This is especially helpful with content forums that are long, that have a lot of like components. For example, the nested components. We can actually probably have a look at that a bit later in a different part of the demo. But yeah, field outline really allows you to jump to the exact specific part of your content forum that you need. So you don't need to scroll anymore and like press a lot of buttons, which is very nice. And so I said top three, right? The three features that I would pick as the sort of rock star features really for Studio. The last one would be the live preview. The live preview allows you to basically preview your website. And by the way, we're looking at our Hygraph website, full real production project right here with a live preview setup where you can basically choose the way you want to see a preview. Could be desktop, could be mobile, could be full width, and available in Studio. I think I mentioned the field outline and components, right? So here we have this sort of nested section, the nested SEO section. And in order to get to that, in order to get to, let's say, this SEO image, you can use, again, the field outline, right, to sort of quickly scan and jump exactly to the image that you want to edit. So those are my top 3 features. If you have the suggestions, please let me know in the comments. And obviously, if you already tried them and you have some feedback and comments and requests for us, please let me know as well. We're always happy to iterate on our features and ship the updated versions based on your feedback. But apart from those 3, there are there's a huge number of smaller quality of life updates. There is this new quick filters section for your content tables. In the asset section, we have a grid view that allows you to see your assets with big thumbnails. In schema, for example, we have well, it's a small thing, but I know internally people use that a lot. It's there aren't like hundreds of field types available, but if you really want to go and into this call out, for example, and okay, I need a component here, you can quickly search for one and immediately pick it and add to your schema. So there are a lot of those small things here and there in Studio. Again, if there's a request for another one like that or feedback about the existing one, please let me know. And now we're going to move to the final part of our demo of our talk today, which I'm calling a sneak peek. Very well, not very creative on my end, I guess, but still, it is exactly what it is. So forgive me. We're going to talk about 3 features here. 3 features that are coming to Studio in the next couple of months, hopefully sooner than later, obviously. And the first one is what we call a content finder. So before that, another addition to Studio, the quality of life improvement, obviously, is the Command or Control K menu, and it really has quite a lot of depth into it, I have to say. So, for example, when you're on the content side of things, you see your recently viewed posts, so that you can just quickly jump exactly where you want to be, or like you remember something that you were working on recently, but kind of just put your finger at, like, was it a page, was it a person, was it a blog post? Recently viewed menu is right here, but we are extending this menu right here with this content finder. So how it works is you can search for anything and you will get a bunch of search results across your project. I think here, yeah, maybe I picked the wrong item here. Well, with headless, they have a lot of blog posts about headless, obviously, but with some other terms, obviously, you'll find that you're going to get search results from all different models. So you don't have to. I mean, if you know for sure that you're looking for a blog post, still probably this search bar right here would be the quickest way to get where you want to be. So you're not going to have any kind of distractions from other models. But exactly, if you don't remember for sure if you were writing about headless CMS and whether it was a blog post, or for example, we have this model here called case study or page. In that case, you can just go here and search for headless, and you will see your post right here. If it was the headless commerce post, commerce is exactly here. So that is the content finder. We put in some finishing touches on it, such as just making some last minute polishing with the goal of releasing it very soon for starting the rollout and then ultimately releasing it for everyone. So that was our content finder. The other feature, which is in a completely different part or area of experience, is a version comparison. So version comparison is something that exists in Classic already, but we understood, judging by the feedback and judging by our own experience with this feature, that it needs a bit of overhaul, a bit of a facelift, and also behind the scenes, under the hood as well. We wanted to make some changes. So version comparison now lives inside this kind of view, what do we call, like an overlay view with quite a lot of changes. This is still, well, it's we can see here that I'm using our dev environment, so this feature is very much a work in progress, especially on the design front. I think we're going to have we're going to give it a bit of a different final look with especially, for example, with fields that are they don't have any difference between them. But we can already see the main changes here, right? We are adding the option for you to restore all fields like this. So all of the fields that that were edited, we're going to restore them to the current version, right? So we have our old version on the left side and our current version on the right side. We can also do it granularly. We can say, all right, I actually do want to connect this course, and well, I'm going to say bad job. That's going to be a fun, maybe it's a fun skill, but well, the model here is called skill badge, right? So maybe it's I don't know, not an Easter egg, but just when you want to, a little prank, let's say, a little prank for somebody who received this skill badge. And this is it, right? So the use case is quite clear, is where we made some changes to our content entry, and then we realized, like, oh, okay, you know what, like the one from a week ago fits way better, and I don't really remember what it was, but I can quickly go in, select the version, and quickly check, okay, what were exactly the changes that I made, and then restore them. Either restore all of them or restore them granularly. So the version comparison, we are looking at releasing this feature in April. We're going to inform our users separately about that through blog posts and stuff like that. So very much looking forward to releasing this feature because, obviously, like I said, we're looking at making this an important update in comparison to Classic. And then finally, the last feature for today that I want to share is what we call content workflows. You can already see something different here in the content table of this test new model that I have right here. But we're going to start with a quick overview of your project settings, because this is where the journey really starts, where you set up the workflows. You can add a new workflow right here, but we're going to have a look at the one that is set up already, which we're calling a new flow right here. Very test-ish name for workflow, but it shows you exactly what the idea here is, right? We start the flow, we name it obviously, but then we configure the steps in this view right here, where the first step is at the top, and then we go to the bottom to the intended end of this workflow. And then on each step, we can configure a bunch of things. For example, the roles that have access to this step, whether or not we allow the entry to be edited on this flow, what is happening in terms of stages within Hygraph, and then different kind of rules about whether or not this entry can be returned to a specific part of the workflow. And yeah, so that's a pretty flexible setup, I have to say, when it comes to you defining how exactly your entry, what sort of path your entry should go through in order to reach production. So when we look at the content side of things, we can start with creating a new entry, and we can call it a live stream testing. And then basically what I can do is I can move this entry to the new step. And right here, I have the overview of what is happening here. I know from here that I'm moving the entry from new, well, from the starting step to this open for QA. When I'm going to move it forward, we've saved the entry automatically, by the way, right? I haven't saved it, but we did it now. And according to my workflow definition, what happened is the entry moved to this read-only state, so that, basically I, as an editor, I'm saying, hey, this entry right here is now open to QA in that specific state that I want it to be. So I want to make sure that none of my colleagues accidentally comes in and edits anything, so that, because that would obviously create a wrong impression, right, of what changes I want, I don't know, my other colleagues to QA. and to view. We have this workflow widget here in the right sidebar that also tells you whether or not you have access and what other roles have access, but cannot edit the entry at the moment. So that is workflows, also coming very soon. And yeah, if you have some immediate thoughts already, immediate questions maybe about this feature or anything else that I've showed today on this quick sort of roundup, quick review of everything that we have, or most important things that we have in Studio, please put them in the comments. I'll be very happy to have a conversation here today. And yeah, the last thing that I want to mention is the two major sort of roadmap items that we have coming later in 2025 are the personalization feature and taxonomy management. So those are the two features that we're working on already. We don't really have a sort of presentable prototype as or presentable sort of last mile version of the feature as with workflows, for example, but this is something that we're looking at. And if you're a customer and you're watching this live stream right now and you know that you have some strong opinions about either of the topics, personalization and taxonomies, please reach out to us. We'd be super happy to have a chat and incorporate your opinions, incorporate your feedback into what we're building right now. That is all from my end. So with the last thing that I want to mention with Studio is that we are soon going to be announcing the end of support for Classic that is coming later this year. We are going to send the emails to project owners and admins in next week, and yeah, that's what's coming from our end. And yeah, we are exactly at the 30-minute mark. Angie?
We do have some questions to get started with, actually. But before we get into that, I just wanted to share, if you do want to learn a little bit more about how Studio works, read about it, we do have the docs available for you. I'll put them in the chat below. And I'll make sure to also put them in the LinkedIn chat. So head over to the docs, and yeah, feel free to ask any questions related to that as well. We do have some questions from Rachel already. So I'm going to go put them in the chat on the screen and read them for you, Daniil. Is there a timeline for bringing version history / version diffs into Studio?
Yes, there's a timeline. We plan to release this feature in April. I don't have the exact date, but yeah, that's what we're aiming for.
Thank you for the questions, Rachel. We also have another question from Rachel again. We're also interested in further changes to collaborator view. Specifically, we'd be interested in if you're planning to have real-time Google Docs like collaboration. I'm sure you get asked this a lot.
Yeah, we actually do. Thank you, Rachel, for for acknowledging that. Well, at the moment we don't. It's not a work in progress project. The real time Google Docs like collaboration. We do have actually some Google Docs related stuff coming up, but it's more kind of something in between, in the middle between Google Docs and Hygraph, because we obviously recognize that Google Docs is and not Google Docs in general, not only Google Docs, but just generally platforms like that. But we're looking at Google Docs specifically and improving this kind of workflow between like moving stuff around, moving stuff from Google Docs to Hygraph. I again don't really have anything specific to share, but maybe I can. Well, first of all, I'll make a note after this live stream that when we have something, Rachel, I can reach out to you specifically on LinkedIn and share some good news. But speaking of like I said, the Google Docs like collaboration, that's not on the roadmap yet. But I'm very, very curious to know what is the pain point for you that makes you interested in this kind of feature. we can connect after the live stream, or I don't know if you have some a very short note about it. Please feel free to share it now. Thank you for the question.
We have another question. It doesn't really load up here on StreamYard, but I can see on LinkedIn. This is a question from Addie. And the question is there any plan for real-time Google
It's pretty much the same question. I mean, that is already a really nice signal. Yeah, well, the version comparison timeline I've answered, which is April. And April this year, I have to let me put it very specifically. Yeah, and Google Docs. I mean, same question to you said Eddie, right? Same question here.
Eddie, yeah.
What is the limiting factor maybe in Studio right now that where the current collaborator view doesn't work as well, and maybe if you ran into some problems where, well, I would assume it's something related to like overwriting each other content or working with somebody on the same entry and something happens. I would be glad to hear those stories as well, because that really kind of helps us to get into your position, right, and understand really what is not working, so we can also brainstorm what would be the best way to fix this.
Thank you. If you do have some other questions, please put them in the chat. We still have some time to answer them. You can put them in the chat in LinkedIn. They'll be coming to StreamYard and we'll be able to answer them. But you can also post them if you're watching from YouTube. Then I do have some general questions from my end. Maybe anyone else is also interested to hear that answer. So I'll get started with those and put them in the screen. First, is there a complete end date for the classic version? What happens once the date is here? Will all just users will be moved to Studio automatically? How does that work?
Right. Yeah, so I already mentioned, right, we are soon going to announce the exact date for end of support for Classic, which is, end of support just means kind of no updates, no features. Classic will still be running. Enterprise customers will be able to have, full access to Classic. And in terms of end of the day and the end date for sort of end of life for Classic, we don't have a specific date. And we're really focusing on really making sure that the end of life day for Classic is going to be just more of a formality, right? Where we are working on improving and adding new things to Studio, so that it's just really kind of obvious that Studio is the way to go, and then we're just going to have to flip the switch on Classic without major migration or anything like that. So,
and then another one would be, thank you, Daniil. Another one would be, what are some major differences that everyone that's currently using Classic or is interested, what some of the major differences between Classic and Studio, what people should be aware of if they're used to the Classic one to make the transition easier?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in general, to talk about our approach to this rewrite, right, to the update from Classic to Studio, is that we are using the new technologies behind the scenes for Studio to power Studio. But one thing that we had pretty clear from the beginning is that, I mean, we're also the users of software, right? And we also don't really like it when a software just reshuffles all of an application reshuffles all of its buttons and all of its like major workflows just, I don't know, for the sake of it. So we were really trying to keep the overall structure of the app sort of where it is, right? So we have the colors and the save and the publish buttons and the sidebar and everything kind of where they are in Classic. So the users, exactly like users do not have to really spend a lot of effort getting used to something super new and like unreasonably new. But one thing that I would say, two things actually that I would say. One thing, I mean, I'm going back to field outline again, but the field outline to me probably is in terms of like really the new look. I think that is the probably most significant thing, right? Because here in Studio we now show this sort of like an outline of your fields of your content form instead of just a list of models that you have in Classic. But and yeah, obviously the second thing is the all of the new features that I already mentioned, where the such as a recently viewed menu or just this general command menu. Those are the things that yes, you have a little bit of a learning curve, but we operate basically with an assumption, with the hope that the value that you get from the new features really justifies the learning curve. So that was a very long way of saying it isn't that much different than Classic, but it is different where it matters.
Thank you. A last one that I would have, and I think this can help. Maybe a lot of people have the same question. How do you recommend adopting Studio internally? So within teams, any
Obviously,
tips there?
yeah, I'd say again, in that case, it's you already mentioned our docs, right? We have some extensive docs on every new feature that is getting released, and yeah, the docs should help sort of with this internal education, right? And we also write the docs from the perspective that if I am, for example, a senior editor or chief content person, I can just take if when Hygraph releases a new feature, I understand what it is, like live preview, for example, right? The value here is clear. Just see my website immediately when I edit it, and just to be sure that everybody understands like what are those little buttons at the top and what to do if maybe I open a live preview and it doesn't work exactly as I expect. Where you write the documents with the assumption that this person can just copy the link from the docs and share it with a person or with their department in general, saying, hey, there is a new feature in Hygraph, here's how to use it, so that you don't really need we also know that sometimes you need to with some features you need a little bit of like personalization, so to say, for your specific case, but ideally we assume that our docs should cover like most of it. So that is definitely one piece of advice. And yeah, but other than that, and especially coupled with what I said before, that the critical parts of the interface, they stay where they are. If you want to go to assets, you press the assets button right here in the sidebar. If you want to publish your entry, you publish it right here. So we expect the whole adoption, whole switch process to be very sort of fast, especially in terms of this internal education. And then obviously the docs are there to help.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think the docs are going to be very helpful. So I made sure to put the link in the chat below for everyone that wants to save it, look at it later. And if you do have any last questions, now's the time to leave that in the chat. In the meantime, also paste the Hygraph Slack channel link below. If you want to connect with us, you'll find Daniil there as well, me and the rest of the Hygraph team. You can ask us any questions if you need any help. Let me put that in the chat. And I'll put it in the LinkedIn chat as well. Okay, I don't think we have any other questions. So I think we can wrap it up as well. If you have any, do you have any other things you would like to share, Daniil? Or I think, yeah.
No, I think that is all for me. And thank you, Angie, for hosting. You're the only person who allows me to speak for 40 minutes without stopping. So obviously, that is great. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. That's great for all of us, right? Well, I want to thank everybody that joined today, and a special thanks to everyone that had any questions and commented below. Thank you to Rachel and Addie. And then like I mentioned before, you can always chat with us in our Slack channels. You can connect with us on LinkedIn as well, with me and Daniil. And yeah, if you have any other ideas, anything you'd like to share with us, we're always available. Thank you, Daniil, for joining me today. I really enjoyed your session. I do use Hygraph Studio myself very frequently. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed today's session. I hope to see you all in the next ones. And yeah, hope you have a great day, great rest of the day. Bye,
Same
everybody.
to you, Angie. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Goodbye.